Good evening, and welcome to the Solo Gamers Club. In tonight's episode, we'll be playing the solo variant for Time of Soccer. Time of Soccer is a football management board game that was designed by Antonio Becerra Montiolo and was originally released in 2014 by Elite Games. In the game, the players take on a role as the chairman of a professional football club, guiding their team through the preseason and a 10-week league schedule, all the while working toward obtaining the most victory points and winning the game. The player will have complete control over the acquisition of club personnel, which include position players, managerial staff, scouts, community managers, and technical secretaries. In addition, the player may arrange friendlies, sign television and advertising contracts, issue press releases, and sell players on the open transfer market. In the solo game, the opposing teams are managed by an innovative system of game mechanics which effectively simulate the feel of playing against a human opponent. I'll begin by going through the game setup, and then we'll start week 1 of the preseason. Step 1 of the setup procedure, we've sorted the tiles based on their on the type. It's designated by Roman numerals 1 through 4. I've randomized those, and I'm going to cut these, and then we need to remove 7 tiles from each pile, and those go back into the game box, and that makes the game different every time you play. So we'll count out 7 tiles from each. All right, those 7 tiles will be returned to the box sight unseen. The remaining tiles are placed at the side of the table, and they'll be used later during the game. Now we'll select our football club. I've selected Mojea, and that is I'll be using the red components. This is the Mojea club display. We'll be coming back to that later in the video. All right, in step 2, we place the main board in the center of the table. The left side of the display is the market board, and the right side of the display is the league board. Now we place 6 colored discs on the league display that will track the victory points for each club during the game. Next, we're going to shuffle the BSK tournament tiles, and those will make the determinations for the quarterfinal slots of the BSK Cup. So we'll give that deck a shuffle, and then we'll draw for the lottery as to what the matchups of the Cup game will be. All right, first matchup is Malarusa versus Vetusto. Next matchup is Lagartos and Mojea. Then we have Palmeiras against K. Latry. And finally, Mineiros versus Paranda. You'll notice that we have 8 teams in the BSK Cup, but there's only 6 discs representing 6 teams in the regular season. 2 of the teams, Los Mineiros and Vetusto, those are marked with white cubes. Those are there strictly for the BSK Cup. And we finished with the BSK Cup tiles. Those can go back to the box. Now we need to shuffle the league tiles. That's this stack of tiles. We make sure that we're using the side of the tiles with the arrow. And these tiles will tell us the schedule during the regular season of the home and visitor teams. We'll give those a shuffle, and then we'll place those at the bottom of the display. We can examine these tiles whenever we'd like, but we can't change the order. So that's our league schedule. And then we place the preseason tile on top of that to note that we're in the preseason for this first week. Then we place a meeple on each track, the start of the week track and the day track. The day track is divided into 7 slots, starting with Monday and ending with Sunday. Each day of the week, there's different actions for the player to perform. When the track reaches Sunday, we advance the week marker 1 place. The week marker is divided into 10 weeks and a preseason week, which is where we're at now. The blue designations on the week track are regular league weeks, and the yellow or gold ones refer to the BSK Cup. On those weeks, we'll be playing a cup match rather than a regular league match. Now we're going to use the Deck 1 tiles, and we're going to populate the market board, starting with the home space and then in numerical order until all 16 are filled. These will be the footballers, managers, and other items that are available for purchase on the market board. So we'll start out by populating that. First one is a player. He is a left or right defender. His name is Fook. I have another player, Miguelian. He is a defender. Another player, Stefan. He's a goalie. And we have a manager, Picapakera. Okay, then we have a advertisement. And we have a central defender, Jigorian. Another manager, Belamonte. And then we have a technical secretary. Another player, he's a striker, Gelatolo. And then we have a defender, Sancho. A friendly, a left or a right midfielder or defender, Diamant. We have a scout, talent scout, and a very versatile player, forward, midfielder, or central defender, Nubaris. And we have a striker, Danka Jote. And finally, a central midfielder or defender, Alberto Tower. Okay, the next step is to place our car on the market display. The car represents our talent scout, and we can place him on any location that has a white car. And generally what you want to do at the beginning of the game is you have to decide on the players that you'd like to, players or managers or personnel that you'd like to obtain. So you want to put your car nearest to those that you wish to try to obtain. In my case, I would like to get a more qualified talent scout. So I'm going to attempt to pick up Jerry, and I'm going to place my car right there. Now we're going to place a cube on the fan track on the 13 spot. That's our starting fan support level. The fan track is very important in the game. That directly determines the club's income, and as you increase in fan support, we gain victory points for that as well. So it's a very important part of the game. All right, we're viewing the Mojea club display. We begin step 3 of the setup by placing our cube on the economic display on the 10 point of the track. That's our starting weekly income for Mojea. As you can see on the income track, it is possible to go into a negative income and we want to avoid that, of course, at all costs. Now we're going to place a cube on the 0 spot of the satisfaction chart. The satisfaction chart works hand in hand with the fan track to record the club's support within the community. When the marker advances to the end of the track, we gain a fan. And as our fan base goes up, our income also goes up. So that's a very important concept in the game. Now we position our starting community manager, technical secretary, and talent scout. And then we place our starting manager on the left side of the board at the top. Starting manager will go here. He will dictate the formation that we're going to use and how the attack and defense values will be calculated. If we obtain additional managers, those will be assistant managers and they'll be placed on those slots. In this game, I'll be utilizing the Unique Football Players Start variant, and we'll be utilizing these tiles. We're going to give those a shuffle, and in the solo game, we're able to draw 2 and keep 1 player. That player will be our starting franchise player. We'll give these a shuffle. And then we're going to draw the top 2 tiles, and we'll be able to keep 1 of those. First player was a central defender named Salas. The second is a central midfielder named Danzig. This is kind of a hard decision to make, but I think I'm going to keep Danzig. I'm going to place him as the left central defender for the time being. And Salas will be put back into the stack, and that stack is removed from play. I chose Danzig because he has a connection with for a +3 value on the offense. If I can connect him with a left striker that also possesses that gold diamond. That's what I'm hoping to do. There's a player on the market board named Gelatau, and he has that ability. So if I can acquire him, that will greatly advance my offense. Now we're in step 4 of the setup. We're going to select our neutral team's level tile. These tiles are ranked by a number from 1 to 5. I'm sorry, 1 to 6. And that will determine the strength of the team, of the neutral teams, as we go through the weeks. The rules suggest for our first game that we use tile number 2. So that's what I'm going to do. These other tiles will go back in the box. And now we have to select our neutral team's clashes tile. And again, those are ranked, in this case, 1 to 5. And that will determine the strength of the opposing neutral teams. The rules also suggest that we use tile 2, so I'm going to do that. These will go back into the box. And then we're supposed to position this tile on top of the first tile. And we note that it's week 1. The strength of the levels of the opponents will be level 0. The final step in the setup process is we collect our starting money from the bank. The game came with these tiles here, which are $1 and $5 denominations. I ended up purchasing some coins that I decided to use in place of those. These will come in 1, 2, and 5 pound denominations. We begin the game with 5 pounds, so we'll be using that. I'll place that on the Mojea club board. And this completes the setup. We're ready to begin play. We will begin with Monday of the preseason week. There's a lot to unpack in this game. Most of this we're going to go through as we play, but I am going to address a little bit of how the finances work in the game. If you remember from before, we placed a cube on the 13 mark on the fan track. Each fan contributes 1 coin to the club, and the advertising and television contracts would provide fixed quantities marked with a yellow coin in the top left corner of the tile. If we had advertising or television contracts, they'll be down here, these 2 slots here, and those would also add to our income. So our total income is the number of fans we have on the fan track plus any additional monies we would get from television or advertising contracts. That's our total income. Our expenses are players and personnel that we have on staff. So as an example, our manager, he has a salary of 1. Our technical secretary has a salary of 1, and Danzig has a salary of 1. So if we take our 13 fan base minus 3 of our expenses, that equals an income balance of 10, and that's why our marker is at 10 right now. As we purchase new players and personnel, this is going to slowly go down. Another thing I'd like to go over is how we calculate our team's attack and defense levels. We first start out by examining our manager tile. He will tell us which player positions will be adding either to the offense or the defense. If it's a soccer ball, it'll be offense. If it's a shield, it'll be defense. So with this manager, we'll be using the summation of all of the players we have in the midfield and in the attack for the offense, and then our 4 defenders and goalkeeper will be the total of the defense. Those are marked on the board, but those are subject to change depending upon the formation style of the manager. If there's a slot on the display that is unfilled, that's considered to be being played by a team player, a journeyman player, and each slot that is unfilled would give us a -2 to either the offense or the defense. So as an example, in the offense, we have only 1 actual physical player on the display, so we would be getting -2s for all of the unfilled, and then his value would be a +1 for his normal midfield position. So in this case, we'd be at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, -10, +1 is -9. That would be our offense. Our defense, we have no players in those positions, and that will be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, -10 on the offense. As you can see here as an example, we have no goaltender. So he is, the journeyman player there is offering -2 to the defense. Those values are recorded on the league display. Around the board you'll see various levels, and each of those will record the offense or attack or defense of the team. So in our case, we have a -9 on the attack, and we have a -10 on defense. That will place us on level -2 when we play, when we resolve league games and cup games. And then once that level is determined, you'll see 6 separate circles in that level, and that will be the number of goals for or goals against when we make our resolution rolls during the game. During the game, 6-sided dice are rolled. Successes are considered out of 5 or 6. So as an example, if we rolled our attack dice and we received 1 success, in this level, 1 success is worth 0 goals. If we received 3 successes, as an example, on offense, that would be worth 2 goals for the third box. If we had all 6, if we rolled 6 out of 6, that would be worth 4 goals. Our offensive and defensive ratings are going to be adjusted as the game proceeds, as we add additional players to the club, or we have assistant managers providing training. All of those factors will come in and they will increase our attack and defense levels. And then once our attack or defense level would go into a new level, then as you can see, more and more goals for or defended come into play as we get more and more skilled. It's Monday morning on the preseason week. We'll start out with a collection action, and then our team will recover energy. I'll explain that when we get to the club board. Mondays are collection days. Collection day is where each club receives revenue from the previous week. And that would be revenue from ticket sales, merchandising, etc. That value is tracked on the economic track. This track represents the difference between our income, expenses, and the net difference of that is our revenue. In this case, we have a positive cash flow of £10. So our club is going to receive £10 that it can use in its operation expenses, purchasing players, managers, etc. Also on Mondays, the club gets to recover energy. There's a variant in the game called the fatigue variant, which we're going to be utilizing in this playthrough. That is controlled with two tracks. We have a fatigue track and an energy track. At the beginning of the game, both of those tracks are at 0, as our club has not expended any energy and is not fatigued. As the club participates in friendlies, league games, and cup games, it will expend energy. So the track will be moving to the left. As energy is expended, it obviously has to be replaced. So as an example, we'll say that the club played in a friendly and in a league game during that week. And we'll say that they expended a total of 3 energy. On Mondays, the club is allowed to recover 2 energy points. So they would say they recovered 2 energy points. Well, they're still short of being back at the baseline of 0 energy. So how that is made up is for every point of energy that the club has to expend to get back to 0, the fatigue track moves a corresponding amount to the left. So in this case, the club would have to recover 1 energy, it will have to expend 1 point of fatigue. You'll notice on the fatigue track there are modifiers here, -1, -2, -3, -4. That will be a modifier to the team's attack and defense ratings in any matches that they play in during this week. That's a basic brief of how the fatigue system will work. Now with Monday completed, the day tracker moves to Tuesday. Tuesday is going to be a market day. So we'll switch to the market board and we'll show you how a market day operates. Tuesday is a market day. A market day allows us to spend operation points on the market board. Our talent scout establishes the number of operation points that are available for the club during that turn. The talent scout that we have now offers us 3 operation points. Operation points can be used for the following actions. We can make a move on the market board. As an example, moving our car from one space to another, that would use up 1 operation point. Another option is to expend a point to enter into a parking area of a tile in an attempt to claim it. So moving to here would be 1 operation point. Another action that we're able to take is to acquire a force tile with the use of a technical secretary. And I will go over that when the time comes. You'll notice around the edges of the market board there are blue and white dice symbols that form rows and columns. Those are used during solo play to simulate the market actions of non-human players. Before each market day, we have to make a series of rolls that will simulate selections from the market board by the non-human players. In this case, we're playing a solitaire game. We would make 3 rolls before we would begin our turn on the market board. Normal game of Time of Soccer involves 4 players. So since we're playing a solo game, 3 of the primary teams are not controlled by a human player, and therefore their market activity is simulated by a system of dice rolls. So we're going to be rolling a blue and a white die, and then the coordinate of that is going to tell us which tile is taken by a non-human team. You'll notice that the dice that we have on the board only go up to 4. So if any of the 2 die come up with a 5 or 6, that's no selection, is what that is considered. So only rolls between 1 and 4 are going to produce a result. So we'll make a roll, and that tile that forms at that intersection is removed and not available. Okay, we rolled a 56 for the first roll, so there's no market activity for that roll. The second roll is a 42, so we'll line up the blue 4 and the white 2. Diamond has been taken by another club, so he's removed and put back into the box, not available for us to purchase. So finally our last roll, and we rolled a 25. Now since one of the dice is over 4, there will be no selection. Now that the market rolls are complete, it's our turn to be able to move on the board and spend operations points. Once again, our talent scout allows us 3 operation points. And my first order of business is I want to increase the number of operation points we get. I am going to purchase Jerry. He's a talent scout. He's going to offer us 4 operation points per turn rather than the initial talent scout that we have, which is only 3. So we're going to expend 1 operation point to enter that tile location. And we're going to sign Jerry. Now, as you can see on his tile, his salary is 0, so it isn't going to affect our expenses for the team. So we simply will take Jerry. We will replace the existing talent scout on our club and attach Jerry to the board. And now we have 4 operation points for the next market day. Once we do an operation that results in claiming of a tile, even if we have operation points left, our turn ends. And since we had claimed that tile, the car moves back out to the street as a part of that transaction. All right, now with Tuesday complete, we move our pawn to Wednesday, and we have to select the first possible option that is available to us. So starting with the bottom of the token, that would be a cup day. If this was in a week that had a gold, it was a week that was printed in gold, we would have a cup day. Barring that, it would be a friendly. If we had any friendlies that had been established, we would resolve those right now. And then in the event that there is no friendly, Wednesday is a market day. So we'll have another market day. Our new talent scout, Jerry, will now offer us 4 operation points to spend during market days. Wednesday is going to be another market day, so we're going to make our market rolls and see which tiles, if any, the non-human players will have taken. Here's our first roll. Okay, we rolled 1 and a 1, so that pile's already taken, so we don't have to worry about him. Next roll is a 46. The 6, there'll be no tile taken with that. And finally, our last roll for the day is snake eyes again, no tile. So we got pretty lucky there. Now it's our turn during the market day. We have a new talent scout that allows us 4 operation points, and I'm going to use those to try to sign Gelatau. He's a striker, and I had talked about that before. He's going to mesh well with the central midfielder Danzig that I had signed earlier. So we're going to make our market moves. 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to sign Gelatow. That's going to cost me £3, and he is going to have an weekly expense of £1. I'm going to add him to my display. First, I'm going to pay for him. That'll be £3. That gives us £12 remaining. And I will take Gelatow's token and we'll switch to the club board. All right, we've purchased Gelatow. He has a weekly expense of £1 per week, so that is going to reduce our income level from 10 to 9. And I'm going to place Gelatow in the left striker position. And now we're going to recalculate our offense and defensive values. All right, again, we start out with our manager tile. He's using a standard formation there. So our midfield and our forwards are going to be added to the attack, and our defenders and goalie will be, the summation of that will be our defense. We're going to recalculate our attack and defense ratings now that we've added Gelatow to the lineup. Gelatow has a +2 for his shot at goal ability, but he also gains a +3 as he is now linked with Dansk through the 2 diamonds that are connected here. Since both of those are the orange diamonds, they will both gain a +3 bonus for their pass ball control skills. Dansk has his normal +1 as a midfielder for his pass and ball control, but he also gains the same benefit with the connection to Gelatow for 3 points. So he would have a total of 4 points towards the offense. So our offense would be calculated as follows. Our total would be 4 and 5 is 9, but then we're going to have to subtract 2 for each offensive position that is not filled by a player tile. So we have 9 minus 2 minus 2 minus 2 minus 2. So that would be a total of +9 minus 8. We would have +1 for our offense. Our defense is unchanged. We still have no player tokens in any of those spots, so we're going to be at -2 for each of these, and our defense will remain at -10. So the addition of Gelatow was very good for us. We're going to be moving from -9 rating up to a +1 rating, and that is going to bring us up to level 0. So when we are on the attack, we are going to be utilizing these numbers for our successes. So it's going to be, offensively, we've greatly improved the team with one single acquisition. Our defense is going to remain the same. We're still at -10, which will give us a -2 level. But our offense has been greatly strengthened. That completes Wednesday. Now we're going to go to Thursday, and that's going to be another market day. All right, it's Thursday's market day. I should explain a little bit about how the movement on the market panel works. You'll notice that on the board there are traffic directional signals. So in this case, you could either move straight or you're forced to turn. So it takes some planning to figure out how you're going to arrive to get the tiles that you want and need. To me, it's a very interesting mechanic that they've developed, and I enjoy it quite a bit. All right, we're going to make our market rolls and see which tiles are removed, if any. Okay, here's our first roll for the day. That's a 61, so there'll be no tile removal for that. Second one is a 56, no tile removed there. And lastly, another 56. So we lost no tiles during this market day. All right, for our market day, our car is going to return back to the street, and now we have 4 operation points we can use. I want to kind of shore up my defense a little bit. There's several players that I'm interested in. Miguelian is probably the one I'd like to have, but unfortunately the path to get to Miguelian is going to be a little difficult. It looks like I'd have to come down here and around and then in. So that was going to take some time. I think for the short term, I'm going to go for Sancho. He will fill the bill for at least for the early part of the game. So we're going to make our movements. That'll be 1, and we have a turn arrow, 2, and 3. We'll enter the tile, and we're going to purchase Sancho for £4, and he is going to have a weekly cost of his salary of £1. All right, we've acquired Sancho. He has a weekly salary of 1, so that's going to decrease our revenue down from 9 to 8. We have £8 left in our reserve, and I'm going to assign, for right now, Sancho is going to be assigned to the right center back position. I've assigned Sancho to the right center back position. I'm hoping that I can get a right back that will be able to connect up with his tackle ability, and that would gain, since this is a non-defined line, those are worth 1 point extra. If it's defined, like say with a symbol with a value in a box, then you get that value. If it's undefined, it's considered +1. But Sancho is going to help our defense. He gains +1 from his normal tackle ability, and he has a special ability that connects up with that symbol that adds 2. So his total is 3 on defense. So our defense will be +3, -2, -2, -2, -2. And that'll increase our defense to a rating of -5. So with the addition of Sancho, we go from a -10 on defense to a -5. And that will put us into level -1 on defense and level 0 on offense. So we're making progress on our club. That completes Thursday, and we move on to Friday, which is going to be another market day. All right, this is our Friday market day. We're going to make our market rolls and see which, if any, tiles are going to be removed. Here's our first roll. We rolled a 45, so that's no problem there. Second roll is a 31. 31 is Don Quixote. Don Quixote is a striker. He's been taken by another team. And lastly, our last roll, we rolled a 33. 33 is going to be the coach Belamonte. He's been taken. And now it's our market day, and this is pretty much a no-brainer. I am going to sign Nubaris. He is a utility player. He plays forward, midfield, and defense, and he has many bonuses that will be able to be linked up, hopefully, with other players. So we're going to secure him. So we're going to use 1 operation point and a second point to move into Nubaris's location, and we're going to sign him. He's quite expensive. He's £6, and he will have a weekly salary of 1. All right, we're back at the club display. We've just signed Nubaris. He has a weekly salary of 1, so we're going to drop our income down from 8 to 7 to cover his salary. We have £2 now left in reserve, and I'm going to assign Nubaris to the forward position. And I did that for these reasons. He's going to gain a +1 for his normal shooting ability on goal, but he also gets this connection here with that special ability of shot on goal, which is +2. So we're going to gain 3 on offense, and he does still offer some other things that might come to light in the future. We have a connection potential with the other forward if I was to replace Gelatau and possibly find another forward with that cross and shoot at a ball rating, he could pay even more dividends. So we're going to go with that. Our offense now, we're going to recalculate. We've got Gelatau with 2 and 3 for the connection. That's 5. Danzig has 1 and 3 for the connection. That's another 4. And then Nuberis 1 and 2 for his advanced ability. So we'll calculate that out. We've got 4 and 5 is 9, 10, 11, 12. And then we're going to subtract 2, 4, 6 for the unfilled positions. That gives us a plus 6 for our attack. And now with the addition of Nuberis in the forward position, our offense now becomes positive 6. So we've already reached level 1 now for our attack. Our defense is still lagging behind. We're at level -1. But we do have level 1 for our attack. So we potentially could be scoring as many as 7 goals with this offense. So that's pretty good. And now we advance from Friday to Saturday. Saturday is going to be a market day, but we're also going to have a market movement, and I'll explain that when that comes up. We're back at the market display. We're going to make our market rolls for the day and see if there's any tiles that are taken by other teams. Here's our first roll. Rolled a 55, so no damage there. Second roll is a 35, no damage there. And finally, 66, so we've lost no tiles. Excellent. All right, it's our turn now on the market day. We're down to 2 pounds available in our cash reserves. There's only one player on the display that is we could obtain, and that's this Jigorian. He's a central back, but unfortunately, with our position, it's going to take a little bit to get over there to be able to sign him, so that's unlikely. I think what I'm going to do is head towards him, and we'll just see how far we can get and set it up for the next market day, which will be Tuesday of next week. So I'm going to we have 4 movement points from our scout, so we're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. And that gets us somewhat in position to be able to head towards either Gregorian or possibly Miguelian. 1, 2, and we'd be there. So either one of those would be good. It's always good to be flexible, though. You never know which tiles are going to be taken during the market rolls. Okay, now I'm going to explain the market movements. Those happen on Saturdays. All tiles on the market board remain there for a maximum of 2 weeks. A market movement will take place every Saturday when all the players have made their market actions. We begin by removing from the game any tiles that are marked with a white cube. Since this is the preseason, there won't be any, but you'll see after we're done that certain tiles are going to be marked with white cubes, and those are denoted to let you know that they're only going to be available for 1 more week. So what we're going to do now is we're going to place white cubes onto all the remaining tiles on the board. All right, we've placed white cubes on all of the tiles that are still remaining on the board. Now we're going to take our deck 1 tiles, and we're going to refill all of the vacant spaces in order, in other words, in numerical order. So starting from the home space, we travel down and try to find an open space. We have one on number 7, so that will be replaced with a new tile. And we have a player called Ukik. He's a midfielder. And we continue on. Number 9 needs a tile, and that is a technical secretary, Dan Teton. Number 10 is a player, Johnny Utah. He is a right midfielder. Space 12 is a scout, Ramirez. Space 13 is a community manager, Glaff, and a player. He is a left midfielder or defender, Julio Alberto. And finally, a goalie named John. So we need to be aware that these tiles that are marked with cubes will only be around till next week Saturday. If any of the tiles are not taken that have these cubes on them, they are removed from the game and we'll never have an opportunity to sign those players. And the day shifts from Saturday to Sunday. Now, if this was a normal week, we would be playing our league matches. But as this is a preseason, unless we have any friendlies that we have to resolve, which we don't, the day is ended. All right, our day marker moves to Monday, and the week marker moves from preseason to week 1. And that completes the preseason for Mojea. We've made some progress. Our attack is at level 1 now. Our defense is still lagging behind a little bit at level -1, but we've certainly made some progress. Our preseason now is over. That tile gets removed and placed in the box, and this reveals the matchups for next week. Malarusa will be playing Kayla Tree. Palmeiras will be playing Mojea. Lagartos will be playing Paranda. So please join me next time for week 1 action for Mojea. Have a good evening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.